Before you sleep tonight, ask yourself one question. Have you seen your reflection today? Because in Igbo land, they say, Miri adihi aha uha, water does not lie. In a forgotten village, deep within southeastern Nigeria, there came a morning when water began to tell a terrifying truth. A truth so horrifying that people begged the sun not to rise again. This is not a story about death. This is a story about replacement. A village where reflections vanished, where shadows learned how to dance, and where identities were quietly stolen. This is onyinyo, the village where shadows danced. Watch till the end, because what happened to them could happen to anyone who ignores their shadow. The village was called UmuỌka, an ancient Igbo settlement surrounded by towering oka trees, trees believed to house spirits older than memory. Life in UmuỌka followed the rhythm of the earth. The cock crowed, women fetched water, men prepared for the farms. That morning, Chinedu, a young palm wine tapper, woke before dawn. He knelt beside his clay water basin, splashed his face, and leaned closer. He froze. The water reflected the roof, the walls, the rising sun, but not him. Kedu, what? He waved his hand. Ripples answered, but his face did not. His heart pounded. Obohimo, is that not me? Fear crept into his bones. In Igbo belief, a reflection is tied to the mmụọ, the spirit self. And when a reflection disappears, elders say, mmụọ mmadụ apụla na ahụ ya. A person's spirit has stepped away from their body. Chinedu screamed, and that scream woke the village. UmuỌka was known for peace, no war, no strangers, no broken taboos, at least none remembered. Children played by the stream. Old women told moonlight stories. The river was sacred. But by mid-morning, whispers filled the air. The baker screamed at her water pot. The blacksmith dropped his hammer. Children cried by the river bank. Their reflections were gone. Not cracked, not distorted, gone. The elders gathered under the Nuku Osisi, the sacred tree. Maziokore, the oldest among them, trembled. Inkea abohi henkiti. This is not ordinary. By noon, more than half the village had no reflection. Fear turned to panic. People stopped greeting each other. Some refused to look into water again. Then the shadows misbehaved. At sunset, something changed. A woman lifted her arm. Her shadow hesitated, then lifted its arm late. A boy ran. His shadow crawled behind him like it was tired. People screamed, Onyinyo nemeihe nonwe ya. My shadow is acting on its own. That night, shadows gathered where no humans stood. They stretched, they twisted, they danced. That was when the dibia spoke. Dibia Nkwocha, the chief priest, whispered, onyinyo aloputala. The children of shadows have emerged. Long ago, the elders said, there were beings that lived between light and darkness. Not ghosts, not humans. Onyinyo. They fed on identity. First, they took reflections. Then, shadows learned your movements, your voice, your memories. When the shadow learned enough, it stepped forward, and the real person faded. The next morning, Obina did not wake up, but someone wearing his face did. He greeted his wife, spoke kindly, smiled the same way. But the children noticed first. He cast 2 shadows. In Igbo belief, no human casts 2 shadows. By evening, Obina's name felt strange on people's tongues. Olembe Obina banwere otua. When did Obina change like this? Nobody could answer, because the real Obina was already gone. Hanage madu. They do not kill. Hane we madu. They take people. That night, nobody slept. The elders ordered fire, torches, lanterns, ancestral flames. Fire reveals truth. As light flooded the village, shadows screamed. They peeled off the ground like smoke. Reflections flickered back for a moment. People cried with relief, but the dibia shook his head. Okuanagi edozi mehe ochie. Fire cannot undo an ancient offense. The village had broken a taboo long ago, and the debt had come due. By dawn, UmuỌka was quiet. Too quiet. Houses stood, wells were full, but no reflections anywhere. Travelers later said they saw people inside the village. They waved, they smiled, but their shadows moved differently. And elders warned, Oburu na ihu onyinyo gi na-eje iche, lahachi azu. So tonight, when you look into water and you see yourself, be grateful. And when your shadow follows you, do not test it, because some shadows are not following, they are learning. If you enjoyed this Igbo folklore horror, like the video, subscribe and share. More African stories are waiting in the dark. See you on the next one, only on MindNHeartJourney. Jide onyinyo gi nke ọma. Hold your shadow